And as we are now in day 6 of the government shutdown, House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is challenging Republican Speaker Mike Johnson to a debate on the House floor. Speaker Johnson, however, did decline that invitation. An additional round of voting, though, is expected later today in the Senate. Not expected to pass any bill, though. Both sides of the aisle do continue to trade blame. A new CBS News poll, though, shows that more than 30% of Americans blame both sides equally for this shutdown. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer sat down on Face the Nation to discuss what needs to be done.
We've got to sit down for the 5 of us. That's the way to solve this problem. But when Democrats talk to Republicans, it's a good thing. And I've encouraged my Democrats to do it, but they've offered us nothing, no change.
And let's bring in CBS News congressional correspondent Nikole Killion joining us there from Capitol Hill. Nikole, very good to see you here. So the House is out this week, but the Senate does return today to vote again on government funding. We understand the speaker took one of your questions during his public remarks today. What did he tell you, and do we expect it to yield any different results coming up?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, but basically Speaker Johnson kind of reiterated what we've also heard from Leader Thune over the past couple of days, that the ball is really in the court of Senate Democrats. They feel at this point they hold their cards. You know, there's a 60-vote threshold in the Senate. Most Republicans, with the exception of Rand Paul, have supported this continuing resolution, but they need more Democrats to come on board for it to pass. I asked the speaker if he was personally lobbying any Senate Democrats to switch their votes. Take a listen to his response.
No, they haven't exactly been ringing my phone off the hook, okay? I'm open, always have been, for dialogue with anybody about that. And they'll have another opportunity this evening. And I sure pray, and I hope you all will, that a handful of additional common sense people on the Democrat side will change their votes, reopen the government, so we can get back to all these issues as we desperately want to do.
Now, the speaker did acknowledge that he had a conversation with Patty Murray, who is the vice chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, but he said that was more in the context of providing some reassurances to her and Democrats that Republicans plan to keep their word and are working in good faith with regards to the ongoing appropriations process. At the end of the day, that's kind of why we're in this predicament, because appropriators could not get all of the bills that were necessary to fund the government done in time. They've gotten a few, but they just couldn't do it before that September 30th deadline. So he says that he believes that appropriations process will go forward in good faith if and when the government is able to reopen.
And Nikole, you've heard us talking about this new CBS News polling. It also shows that most Americans disapprove with the way that this government shutdown is being handled, and they are very concerned about the impacts it will have on the economy. So given that sentiment, how are lawmakers perceiving what the public is thinking about this? And do they think that their messages are actually resonating with people?
Well, I think it's why we have these daily news conferences here at the Capitol, which doesn't happen too often, with the Speaker and the House Minority Leader and Senate leaders as well. I mean, because, yes, at the end of the day, this is a bit of a messaging war between both sides to try to convince the public why the government should or shouldn't reopen, what it will take to get the government back open again. And we continue to hear Republicans make the case that, look, this is just a clean extension of funding. We're happy to debate some of these other issues once the government reopens. But Democrats say, look, you know, we are in the midst of a health care crisis here. It's not getting any better. It has to be addressed before we move forward on anything else. And yes, I think those poll numbers are quite telling in that, you know, both sides share some blame in this, that the public is concerned about the potential impact on the economy. And certainly they believe that, you know, all sides share a little bit of onus in this. So we'll see if that kind of gets these leaders and the president back to the negotiating table, which is something Democrats have been calling for. Although, again, Republicans feel, look, we've put it all on the table. You either vote for this bill or, you know, we have nothing else to give at this point.
All right, Nikole Killion, thank you very much.